Now, let us discuss about hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbon, a compound made up of hydrogen and carbon only, is called hydrocarbon. That is, hydrogen plus carbon equals hydrocarbon. Examples for hydrocarbons are methane, its chemical formula is CH4, ethane, its chemical formula is C2H6, ethene, its chemical formula is C2H4, and ethine, its chemical formula is C2H2. Because these are made up of only two elements, carbon and hydrogen. Hydrocarbons are of two types: saturated hydrocarbons and unsaturated hydrocarbons. Let us note that the most important natural source of hydrocarbons is petroleum, or crude oil. The natural gas also contains hydrocarbons. Saturated hydrocarbons, that is, alkanes. A hydrocarbon in which the carbon atoms are connected by only single bonds is called a saturated hydrocarbon. Saturated hydrocarbons are also called alkanes. The names of all these saturated hydrocarbons end with "ane". Examples with structural formula: methane, its chemical formula is CH4, ethane, its chemical formula is C2H6, propane, its chemical formula is C3H8, butane, its chemical formula is C4H10, pentane, its chemical formula is C5H12, and hexane, its chemical formula is C6H14. Methane is formed when a carbon atom having 4 valence electrons share with 4 hydrogen atoms containing a valence electron each. Carbon atom is linked with hydrogen atoms with a single bond. Ethane, its chemical formula is C2H6, carbon atoms are linked together with a single bond. 3 valencies of each carbon atom remain unsatisfied, so each carbon is bonded to 3 hydrogen atoms forming ethane structure. Propane, its chemical formula is C3H8, carbon atoms are linked together with a single bond. Propane is formed when 3 carbon atoms having 4 valence electrons each share with 8 hydrogen atoms. This can also be represented as CH3, CH2, CH3. Butane, its chemical formula is C4H10. Carbon atoms are linked together with a single bond. Butane is formed when 4 carbon atoms, having 4 valence electrons each share with 10 hydrogen atoms having a valence electron each. This can also be represented as CH3, CH2, CH2, CH3. Pentane, its chemical formula is C5H12. Carbon atoms are linked together with a single bond. Pentane is formed when 5 carbon atoms having 4 valence electrons each share with 12 hydrogen atoms having a valence electron each. This can also be represented as CH3, CH2, 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 CH3. Hexane, its chemical formula is C6H14. Carbon atoms are linked together with a single bond. Hexane is formed when 6 carbon atoms having 4 valence electrons each share with 14 hydrogen atoms having a valence electron each. Let us see the general formula for saturated hydrocarbons. Formula of saturated hydrocarbons, or alkanes, is CN, H2N plus 2. Here, N is the number of carbon atoms in one molecule of the alkane. If an alkane has 1 carbon atom in its molecule, then N equals 1, and its molecular formula is C1, H2 into 1 plus 2, or CH4. If an alkane has 2 carbon atom in its molecule, then N equals 2, and its molecular formula is C2, H2 into 2 plus 2, or C2H6. The saturated hydrocarbons, or alkanes, are chemically not reactive. Now, let us discuss about the unsaturated hydrocarbons. Unsaturated hydrocarbons, that is, alkenes and alkynes, a hydrocarbon in which two carbon atoms are connected by a double bond, or a triple bond, is called unsaturated hydrocarbon. Examples: ethene, we can write ethene, H2C double bond, CH2, and diethine, we can write ethyne, HC, triple bond, CH, are two important unsaturated hydrocarbons. Unsaturated hydrocarbons are of two types. Alkenes, those containing carbon, that is, carbon double bonds. Alkynes, those containing carbon, that is, carbon triple bonds. Alkenes, an unsaturated hydrocarbon in which two carbon atoms are connected by a double bond is called an alkene. Alkenes contains double bond of carbon groups. Let us see the general formula of alkenes. The general formula of alkenes is CnH2n. Here, N is the number of carbon atoms in one molecule of the alkene. If an alkene has two carbon atoms in its molecule, then N equals 2, and its molecular formula is C2H2 into 2, or C2H4. If an alkene has three carbon atoms in its molecule, then N equals 3, and its molecular formula is C3H2 into 3, or C3H6. Examples are ethene, its chemical formula is C2H4, containing two carbon atoms. Propene, its chemical formula is C3H6, containing three carbon atoms, and butene, its chemical formula is C4H8, containing four carbon atoms, etc. Please note that common name of ethene is ethylene. Alkynes, an unsaturated hydrocarbon, in which two carbon atoms are connected by a triple bond, is called alkyne. Alkyne contains triple bond of carbon groups. The general formula of alkynes is CnH2n-2. Here, N is the number of carbon atoms in one molecule of the alkyne. If an alkyne has two carbon atoms in its molecule, then N equals 2, and its molecular formula is C2H2 into 2 minus 2, or C2H2. If an alkyne has three carbon atoms in its molecule, then N equals 3, and its molecular formula is C3H2 into 3 minus 2, or C3H4. Here, we should note that simplest alkyne is ethyne, having the molecular formula C2H2. The common name for ethyne is acetylene. Examples for alkynes group are ethyne, its chemical formula is C2H2, containing two carbon atoms. Propyne, its chemical formula is C3H4, containing three carbon atoms, and butene, its chemical formula is C4H6, containing four carbon atoms, are some of the hydrocarbons which comes under alkynes. Alkyl groups, the group formed by the removal of one hydrogen atom from an alkane molecule, is called alkyl group. Examples: methyl group and ethyl group. Let us note that the general formula for alkyl group is CnH2n+1, where N is the number of carbon atoms,